Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I will be sharing my Sega Genesis collection. I didn't get a Genesis until like later on in my life. Well, for myself, I did experience it back in the day. We had, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. We shared our consoles. We was able to play, everything at the time. But yeah, the first game I played for the Genesis, I think it was Sonic 1. I believe it was Sonic 1. Yeah, I really don't remember, but it probably was the first Sonic the Hedgehog game. Then later on, Streets of Rage and all that other stuff, Mortal Kombat, so many good games for the Genesis that I played throughout the years. But yeah, here's my Genesis collection that I have. I don't have a huge amount. Some games I don't have no more, but I still have the cases for. But yeah, I'm going to show the ones that loose cartridges first. First one is Sonic and Knuckles. It has like the little thing where you can put Sonic 1 on top, so you can play as Knuckles on Sonic 1. But this is Sonic and Knuckles. This is probably my favorite Sonic game. I do like this one a lot. Pretty fun game. Yeah, it's one of the best ones in my opinion. Next game is Super Wrestlemania. I remember this one being better than the Super Nintendo version. This one has 8 wrestlers, but the Super Nintendo version has 10. But the thing about this version, you was able to do the finisher moves, but the Super Nintendo version, you're not able to, which sucks. But I remember this version being better. Pretty fun, pretty fun wrestling game. It's not the best wrestling game ever, but it was pretty good for the time. Better than the earlier wrestling games before this one. Next up is Shinobi 3. Never played this one. The label's a little messed up, but never played this one. I remember playing one Shinobi game and that's it. I never got into the Shinobi series. Maybe one day I will try this one out, but that Shinobi 3. Next up is Vectormen 2. I remember playing the first one and trying it. Not bad. I never got into these games, but it seems like a pretty fun platforming game. Yeah, it's Vectormen 2. I'm not sure if I had the first one. Yeah, I do have the first one. And the first one right here, Vectormen, the first one. I believe they have this a part of the Genesis collection. Yeah, but I never got into these games. Maybe one day I'll give them a try again. But yeah, heard some pretty decent things about the series. But yeah, I never really got into them. That's Vectormen 1. Now this one I did play. The Lion King, fantastic game, very difficult game. I played it on the Genesis, Super Nintendo. I do prefer the Super Nintendo version over this one, but this one is not a bad version. They do have this a part of the Disney's Classic Collection. Very good game. I love it. I love the story. I love the characters. The movie is great as well. Great game. But I recommend the Super Nintendo version though. Next up is Robocop versus Terminator. Didn't play this one a lot. I remember it being pretty good, but I don't remember the story at all. But I remember this one being a big deal back in the day because it was Robocop and Terminator in the same game. But this is the first versus. All these rap artists with these verses, this is the real verses right here. But that one was alright. Next up is Disney's Aladdin. A lot of people do prefer this version over the Super Nintendo version. I'm opposite. I like the Super Nintendo version better than this one. Yes, I said it, and I'm gonna say it again. I like the Super Nintendo version better than this one. Even though this one is not bad, I do prefer the Super Nintendo version. It's basically because of nostalgia, and that was the first one I played. That's the reason why I prefer that one. I'm sure if I played this one first, I would prefer this one over the Super Nintendo version. But this was a fun game though. Much more difficult than the Super Nintendo version though. Next up is Streets of Rage, the first game. The first game was pretty good. It's not as good as the second one. Obviously the second one is better. But this was a good start for the series. I do like it a lot. Next up is Wrestlemania the Arcade game. This is a much better version than the Super Nintendo version because this one ran a lot better when there's more players on the screen. The Super Nintendo version, the problem with that, once it gets to the point where you have like 3 players or 3 or more players on the screen, the game starts to slow down tremendously. This one didn't happen like that too often, but I do like this game. It's a pretty fun, wrestling / fighting game. Next up is Columns. Very similar to Tetris. I guess this is like the competitor to Tetris. I remember playing this a lot on Game Gear. Pretty fun puzzle game. I did like it a lot. Okay, so that's all the games that I have loose. Now I'm going to show you the games that I used to own but just had the case for it. First up is NBA Labos 97. This is just the case. This is one of my favorite basketball games for this generation. I remember playing this one a lot. I remember watching my cousin play this a lot. 97 on the Super Nintendo. I think I have it on Super Nintendo though. Fun game, fun basketball game. I enjoyed it a lot. Next up is The Jungle Book. Regret getting rid of this one. I think it's starting to go up in price now. This is like $10 when I bought it on the Genesis back then, as you can see. But yeah, pretty difficult game. It's like I couldn't even get past the second freaking level. But yeah, I will try it again. But it's really freaking difficult. I couldn't get past Kai, the snake. But oh man, hold on. Next up is Miss Pac-Man. This is also the case as well. Don't have the cover, the game itself. But Miss Pac-Man is always a fun puzzle maze game. Pop in some Pac-Man at any time and just have a blast for a couple of hours. Pretty fun game. I like Miss Pac-Man. I think I have it on Super Nintendo. And the last game that I had the case for but don't have the game is Super Street Fighter 2 for the Genesis. This was a dope game. Updated, new characters, 4 new characters in particular. DJ, T-Hawk, Cammy, and Fei Long. One of the best fighting franchises ever. Street Fighter 2. Okay, now the box games. These I actually have the game for. First up is Mortal Kombat 2. My favorite Mortal Kombat game of all time is Mortal Kombat 2. And just something about it. Naturally, I love this game so much. I can play this game all the time. I do prefer the Super Nintendo version. It's a lot better. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Really fun game. This is the first time you see Knuckles. And blast. What a blast this game is. Very fun. Next up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Hyperstone Heist. Very similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 for the Super Nintendo. It shares a lot of similarities in terms of, the graphics and the stages, but it's a bit different. I went into this one thinking it's going to be the same, but It's a bit different, but I do like this one. And I have it in the box. I think it's complete. Yeah, the manual doesn't look that great, but Hyperstar Heist. Next up is WWF Raw. This is another one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. This is like the best out of the trilogy, out of Super Wrestlemania and WWF Will You Rumble and Raw. This is like the best one. Roster was pretty good back then. Pretty small, but pretty good back then. You know, this was back in the 90s, so you didn't expect to have like 20 wrestlers. You was lucky to get 6, but good game, good game. Okay, I don't have too many more to show. Just have one last stack here. Next up is Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. This basically have, you know, a few new added characters. Well, not new characters, but a few of the boss characters from the previous version, which was just Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2. You know, you can play as Balrog, you play as Vega and Bison now. But fun ass game. Love this game. Classic game. Definitely will be talking about this on my Instagram page. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Probably my favorite Sonic game. Maybe Sonic and Knuckles. I go back and forth. Either this one or Sonic and Knuckles. I'm always switching which one's my favorite, but Sonic 2 was one of the best platformers ever. One of the best Sonic games ever. Next up is NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Basically an updated version of the original NBA Jam. You know, different rosters. Now you can play as, well, we have 3 characters, well, 3 players in a team now instead of just 2. Some teams still had 2 only, but you got the rookies now and all-star teams, which is cool. You know, you're able to substitute in between quarters. You know, this game was a blast back in the day. Next up is Mortal Kombat 3. My least favorite Mortal Kombat. This one added combos, which was good. More fatalities, more babalities, animalities now. Yeah, still my least favorite, but not a bad fighting game. It's the back. Great game. Next up is the original NBA Jam. Absolutely love this game. This was probably one of the first arcade games I ever played or saw at an arcade. Maybe Street Fighter was the first one. I don't remember. But great game back in the day, man. Playing this with friends. Next up is Wwf Will You Rumble. Great game, great game. I remember my friend at the time, Enrique, rest in peace Enrique, and his brother, we used to play this, but the Super Nintendo version that is, we used to play this all the time, and we used to go at it. We used to go at it in this game, but this one was cool. I like this one. And this one was like the first version I played was this one. But me back in the day, I didn't realize that this version and the Super Nintendo version has a different roster. And when I started collecting again, I wanted to play this version in particular. But then I bought the Super Nintendo version thinking that, okay, this one has the roster. This roster in this game is the same as the Super Nintendo version, and it's not. Because I was looking for IRS, I was looking for Hulk Hogan, and I was like, okay, they're not on the Super Nintendo version. So I'm like, what happened? And I was like, okay, maybe the versions are different, and come to find out they are. You know, but good game. Next up is Mortal Kombat. I have forgot to put this in the pile with the games I don't have no more. I do have the case for it though. Great game. I do want to get this version again though. You know, as you can see, I don't have the game no more, just in case. But yeah, great game. A little bit better than the Super Nintendo version. The Super Nintendo version had better graphics, but you know, this had the blood. The Super Nintendo version didn't. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog, the not for resale version. This game was $10 when I first bought it back then. Love this game. A great start to the series. Sega had a hit with this one. You know, they needed a mascot to compete with Mario, so they did with this one. And Sonic was just much more cooler than Mario. Not to say that he was a better character, but much more cool than Mario. But fun game. I like it a lot. And last but not least, and I had to save the best for last, as you already know, this is my favorite game for the Sega Genesis. Streets of Rage 2, not for resale edition. This game is the ultimate beat 'em up game. This is my favorite beat 'em up game of all time. This is my favorite, well, scratch that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 for the Super Nintendo is my favorite. This one comes real close. But this is my favorite game for the Super Nintendo, for the Sega Genesis of all time. Streets of Rage 2. If you never played it, I highly recommend you play it. Best game ever made for the Sega Genesis. And that is it for my Sega Genesis collection. It's not that much. Let me know, do you still have the Sega Genesis? Let me know what's your favorite Sega Genesis game. I would really like to know in the comments. Do you still own one? Unfortunately, I don't own one no more. I can play these games on my Retron 5. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Leave a like on this video. It would really help my channel get out there. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.